The Miracle on Ice was a whopping 46 years ago, and still, in our fast-moving, ever-changing cultural history, it remains incredibly enduring. Lake Placid has built an industry around that incredible game against the Soviets. Youth hockey rinks, a museum, stores up and down Main Street. The latest thing? Holograms of the players playing that game, with those same players watching from the audience. That's today's story of the day.
Support for Story of the Day comes from Clarkson University, offering over 95 programs of study with campuses in the Hudson Valley, Central, and Northern New York. More at clarkson.edu.
Hey, I'm David Sommerstein. It's Friday, January 30th. First up, the tab for last year's New York State prison strike is set to climb over $1 billion. Jimmy Vielkind reports for the New York Public News Network.
Governor Hochul is proposing another $535 million to keep National Guard troops in the state prison system. There are around 3,000 members in state prisons, helping to fill gaps that were made worse by the 3-week strike last winter. That's on top of $700 million the state has already spent. State Senator Julia Salazar says that the state should instead close more prisons.
It's really unsustainable. I'm grateful that the National Guard members are supplementing the insufficient staff levels in facilities.
Hochul's aides say the spending is necessary because the Corrections Department still has a shortage. Republicans say the governor should crack down on contraband to make prisons safer. In Albany, I'm Jimmy Vielkind for the New York Public News Network.
Hundreds of people around the North Country are planning to remember a Minneapolis nurse with vigils this weekend. Immigration and Customs Enforcement agents shot Alex Pretti 10 times and killed him last Saturday. His death, along with the killing of Renee Good earlier this month, also in Minneapolis, has sparked outrage and a reckoning about ICE tactics in the Trump administration's immigration crackdown. Vigils are planned tomorrow on Main Street in Willsboro, on Public Square in Watertown, and at the Durkee Street parking lot in Plattsburgh, and Sunday at the City Park in Glens Falls. Organizers of all those events urge people to participate peacefully. Every 4 years, when the Winter Games roll around, Lake Placid honors its own Olympic legacy. This month, the village hosted a high-tech recreation of the Miracle on Ice. 3 players from that 1980 hockey team were in town for the event, as was the sports broadcaster who defined the moment as a miracle. Emily Russell has our story.
Welcome to the Herb Brooks Arena in historic Lake Placid.
It's a cold, snowy evening in the Olympic village of Lake Placid. Nearly 2,000 people are filing into the hockey rink where history was made 46 years ago.
I'm Al Michaels, and tonight I'll take you back in time to relive a game which needs no introduction. Join me. 2 mesh screens are stretched across the ice.
As Michaels sets the scene, old news footage is projected on the 2 screens, making it look almost three-dimensional.
This is a story about one of the most improbable circumstances in the history of sports.
The American men were the underdogs at the 1980 Olympics. The team of amateurs faced off against the Soviets, who were so dominant and unbeatable that they were known as the Red Machine. The Soviets had won gold at the last 4 Olympics. There's just as much red, white, and blue in the stands today as there was at that semifinal game. As the event gets underway, life-size holograms recreate key moments from that game.
The U.S. was trying to keep pace with the Soviets.
Baker to center, up to the line. He breaks wide along the boards to the corner. Center post, he shoots. Save his thing.
The event is called Run Back the Miracle, and it's sponsored by Michelob Ultra. Chad Cassidy from the Olympic Regional Development Authority says the beer company contacted Orta months earlier to rent the arena.
We obviously are the home of the most iconic event in sports history. And any time that we can go back in time and bring in that emotion and bring in what happened here in 1980, it brings a different level of intensity here for our staff and for all the people in our community.
Near the end of the first period, the Soviets were ahead 2-1. Then, with just a second left on the clock, Mark Johnson scored a huge goal. Allison Jacob is wearing an original hat from the 1980 games. She wasn't here back then, but lives in the village now. She came tonight with her husband, Jake, to celebrate the game that's helped define this village.
It's a moment of hope and excitement, and look what we did.
Against Goliath. These were amateurs against professional warriors.
The underdog, winning. It's always a big deal.
It was just a great story.
The story has been written about in books, turned into a movie, and now there's a new documentary on Netflix.
62. Now only 20 more minutes left to play. What could possibly lie ahead?
No one embodies the legacy of the 1980 team more than its captain, Mike Eruzione. I find him in the stands during halftime.
How does it feel being in the crowd for this?
First time ever being in the crowd here, right? Usually I'm on the ice here. So I'm now a spectator watching myself play.
It's a little weird, says Eruzione, but still really special. He was just 25 years old when he and his team won gold on this ice. Eruzione says he didn't understand the gravity of what they had accomplished until after the Olympics, when they flew to D.C.
And when we landed in Washington on our way to the White House, the streets were lined with people waving flags. And it was like, oh my God, this is huge.
USA! USA! Just like the crowd did at that 1980 game, fans here erupt in USA cheers.
Honestly, I think 1980 was the pinnacle of USA hockey.
That's Dale Benaway. He's wearing Eruzione's jersey and drove 4 hours to be here with his dad, Tom. Tom watched the game live on TV when he was 17 and says nothing in sports lives up to the Miracle on Ice.
We watch Super Bowls and we watch World Series and we watch Olympic tournaments. Nothing compared to what this ragtag bunch of kids did back in 1980 in a little small town in upstate New York.
The holograms on the ice don't capture all the magic of that game. Despite being life-size, they're kind of glitchy and look like they belong more in a video game. Still, fans like Benaway are here to relive iconic moments from the game, up until the very end.
11 seconds, 10 seconds.
Up to Schultz, 5 seconds left in the game.
Do you believe in miracles?
Yes! Unbelievable.
My hair is standing up on my arms. Unbelievable.
After the game ends, sports broadcaster Al Michaels, who's now in his 80s, comes out onto the ice and introduces 3 of the players.
Bring them in right now. Jim Craig, Mike Eruzione, and Mark Johnson.
The 3 players talk about what made their team so special, from the coaching methods of Herb Brooks to the chemistry the guys had with each other. Over the last 46 years, this team has been honored in a lot of different ways. But Johnson tells the crowd that tonight's event stands out.
Blew me away. It was fascinating. I'm still trying to figure out how they did all this, but the back of my neck, the hairs are coming up. I mean, we've seen it in 45, 46 years now, but it still gives me chills.
Johnson is in his late 60s, as is goalie Jim Craig. At one point, Michaels refers to what they've done since that game as their afterlife, as if their lives after the Miracle have been a whole other existence. Both Eruzione and Craig have built careers around that game, giving motivational speeches at corporate events. But sitting on the ice where he and his team made history, Craig says he tries to follow his own advice and stay focused on what's ahead.
I always tell people, don't ever let your memories be bigger than your dreams, because when you do that, you get old real quickly.
After these Winter Olympics, the next big milestone is the 50th anniversary of the Miracle on Ice in 2030. Al Michaels suggested that they'd all be back in Lake Placid to relive that moment yet again. Emily Russell, North Country Public Radio, Lake Placid.
There's another event tomorrow night to honor the legacy of the Miracle on Ice. A 6-foot statue of Coach Herb Brooks will be unveiled by his 2 children outside the Olympic Museum. Jack O'Callahan from the 1980 team will also speak at the event, which begins at 6 p.m. tomorrow evening. Music today by Lost in Beijing of Keene and Jared Sommerfeld of Potsdam. Have a great weekend. I'm David Sommerstein, North Country Public Radio.